I've met poor people with millions in their hands and rich people with nothing but vision in their hearts. The difference isn't luck, my friend, it's philosophy. Most people spend their lives chasing paychecks, while the wealthy chase principles. They think different, act different, live different, because they see life differently. And until you change the way you think about money, you'll always be trading your time for it. Tonight, I want to teach you how to stop working for money and start making money work for you. Let me tell you something. Before you ever earn your first million, you must first earn mastery over yourself. Because if you can't manage your own emotions, you won't manage your money for long. You see, money is a magnifier. It doesn't change who you are, it reveals you. If you're careless when you're broke, you'll be reckless when you're rich. If you're impatient when you have $100, you'll be impulsive when you have 100,000. The rich don't chase money because they've already learned to master something far greater themselves. I remember a time early in my career when I'd get my paycheck on Friday, and by Monday, it was gone. I told myself I didn't make enough, but the truth was, I wasn't disciplined enough. I was trying to make more before I learned to manage what I already had. One of my mentors told me, if your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep will be your downfall. That hit me hard. From that day, I stopped chasing more money and started building better habits. I started journaling every expense, every impulse, every unnecessary coffee or gadget I thought I deserved. That little exercise revealed the truth. I wasn't poor, I was undisciplined. We live in a time when instant gratification has become a lifestyle. You can order a pizza, a car, or a new phone with a single tap, but you can't order success. Success still demands patience, restraint, and self-control. Elon Musk once said, "You get paid in proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve." Well, one of the hardest problems you'll ever solve is yourself. Because until you learn to delay your emotions, you'll delay your wealth. So I began practicing small disciplines. I'd make tiny promises to myself and keep them. Wake up early. Save a fixed amount every week. Read instead of scrolling. Reflect before reacting. Every time I kept a promise, I built self-trust. And that trust is the foundation of self-mastery. Because when you start to trust yourself, you stop sabotaging your own progress. Most people think they need a financial plan. What they really need first is an emotional plan. They need to know how they'll act when fear shows up in the market, when greed whispers in their ear, or when they feel envy looking at someone else's success. Because money flows to those who are stable enough to hold it. Discipline isn't punishment. It's protection. It protects you from your lesser self. It keeps you steady when everyone else is swayed by emotion. The wealthy don't have more luck. They simply have more self-control. They know that success isn't about doing big things once. It's about doing small things consistently, especially when you don't feel like it. Remember this, if you can't control your hand at the checkout counter, you'll never control your hand in the investment market. Start small, stay steady, and make discipline your silent partner, because when you master yourself, money becomes easy. When you don't, it becomes your master. Most people spend their lives reacting to life instead of designing it. They wake up, go to work, pay their bills, and repeat, hoping that somehow, one day, something will change. But nothing changes until you shift from survival to strategy. The wealthy don't wake up wondering how to make it through the month. They wake up thinking about how to make their next decade count. They understand that surviving keeps you alive, but strategy makes you free. I remember when I was just starting out, living paycheck to paycheck. My life was built around Fridays. That was my finish line. I'd get paid, pay the bills, maybe treat myself, and then by the next Thursday, I was running on fumes again. One day, someone asked me a simple question that changed everything. Do you have a plan, or are you part of someone else's? That hit me like a brick. I realized I wasn't living strategically. I was just participating in someone else's plan for my time and energy. You see, the difference between the average person and the wealthy isn't intelligence, it's perspective. The average person thinks in days and weeks. The rich think in decades. They don't just work for money, they work for systems that produce money. They don't trade time for cash. They build machines that keep working long after they stop. Think about it. Most people ask, how can I earn more? But the wealthy ask, how can I multiply what I earn? It's a subtle difference, but it changes everything. When you start thinking strategically, you stop relying on effort alone and start leveraging structure. Because hard work creates income, but smart work creates wealth. One of the best strategies I ever learned was automation. It takes emotion out of the equation. I automated my savings, my investments, even my education fund. That way, I didn't have to decide every month whether to save or spend. The system decided for me. It's easy to say you'll save what's left, but let's be honest, there's never anything left. So save first, then live on the rest. That's how you move from chaos to control. When you think long term, your decisions change. You stop buying for status and start building for stability. You stop chasing the next promotion and start creating the next opportunity. Strategy is about designing a future that doesn't rely on luck or labor. It relies on leverage. I often tell people, if you keep playing defense, you'll never score. Survival is defense. Paying bills, staying afloat, making ends meet. Strategy is offense, creating systems, planning ahead, and building momentum that compounds. The wealthy understand that money follows order. Where there's structure, there's flow. So take time to map your next 5, 10, even 20 years. Visualize where you want to be and build systems that make it inevitable. Automate your growth. Track your progress. Learn to think like a builder, not just a worker. Because when you stop fighting for survival and start designing strategy, you stop running in circles and start walking in purpose. Remember this, survival is about today, but wealth is about tomorrow. And tomorrow always belongs to those who plan for it today. Most people want to win the outer game, more money, better results, recognition, security. But here's the truth. You can't win the outer game until you win the inner one. You see, wealth doesn't begin with numbers in a bank account. It begins with the thoughts in your head. Success is 80% mindset and only 20% mechanics. You can hand two people the same strategy, the same book, the same blueprint, and one will build an empire while the other quits in frustration. Why? Because the inner world wasn't ready to handle the outer rewards. When I was young, I wanted to change my circumstances without changing myself. I thought if I just worked harder, things would get better. But I was missing the foundation, the mental framework that sustains growth. You can't pour wealth into a mindset built on scarcity. It'll leak out through fear, self-doubt, and bad habits. The first million is not earned in your pocket, it's earned in your philosophy. I once met a man who told me, I'm waiting until I make money to start thinking like a millionaire. I told him, you've got it backwards. You start thinking like a millionaire so you can make the money. It's never the amount that makes you rich. It's the awareness that allows you to hold on to it and grow it. That's why so many people who win the lottery lose it all. They won externally but lost internally. Every day, you must feed your mind before you feed your wallet. Read something that challenges your thinking. Listen to ideas that stretch your imagination. Spend time learning how the successful think, not just what they do. The great Warren Buffett once said, "The best investment you can make is in yourself." And he meant it. Because no one can take your mindset from you, not a boss, not the economy, not even bad luck. When I started reading personal development books, something remarkable happened. My world changed before my income did. I began to see opportunity where I used to see obstacles. I stopped blaming the system, the boss, or the economy, and started asking better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? Who can I become in the process? The quality of your life will always reflect the quality of your questions. And here's another truth. Gratitude is the fuel for growth. When you're grateful, your mind stays open, your heart stays humble, and your focus stays sharp. Gratitude doesn't mean you settle. It means you appreciate what you have while working for what you want. It tunes your vision so you can spot possibilities others overlook. The inner game is about discipline, vision, and belief. If you believe success is possible for you, you'll act accordingly. If you believe wealth is wrong or out of reach, you'll subconsciously sabotage it. That's why mindset work isn't a side task. It's the foundation. Spend at least 30 minutes daily developing your mind. Study biographies of people who started where you are. Let their stories remind you that every empire began with a single decision to believe. Remember, the mind is a garden. If you plant weeds, doubt, fear, limitation, that's what will grow. But if you plant seeds, vision, discipline, gratitude, those will bloom into results. The outer game is built on the inner one. So if you truly want to change your life, don't start with the money, start with the mirror. Because the wealthiest thing you can ever build is the person you become. Let me tell you something that separates the wealthy from everyone else. They understand the real currency of life isn't money, it's time. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose clients and replace them, but once time is gone, it's gone forever. That's why the rich treat every minute like an investment. They guard it, they multiply it, and they refuse to waste it on things that don't move them closer to their purpose. Most people spend their days trading time for money. They clock in, clock out, and repeat. But here's the danger. If you spend your whole life selling your time, you'll never have enough left to buy your freedom. The goal is not to work harder for money. The goal is to make your money and your systems work harder for you. That's why wealthy people buy time, they hire, delegate, automate, and design their lives around leverage. I remember early in my career, I was doing everything myself. I was the manager, the marketer, the accountant, and the janitor. Then one day I realized something. I wasn't in control of my life. I was buried in it. I was busy, but I wasn't productive. I was working harder than ever, but not getting any closer to freedom. So I asked myself, what if I could buy back my time? And that question changed everything. The day I started delegating was the day my life began to expand. I hired people who were better than me at certain tasks. I automated the repetitive parts of my business. I stopped doing $10 an hour work so I could focus on $1,000 an hour thinking. That's how the wealthy operate. They know their value, and they refuse to spend their hours on things that don't match it. Money is infinite. Time is not. Elon Musk once said, "You can't buy back your time." And he's right. That's why the wealthy are obsessed with efficiency. They schedule their deep work hours, those golden hours where creativity and clarity flow, and they protect them like treasure. They don't fill their calendars with distractions. They fill them with direction. If you ever feel overwhelmed, it's not because you have too little time. It's because you've said yes to too many things that don't matter. You have to learn to say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Time management isn't just about getting things done. It's about getting the right things done. Automation is one of the simplest ways to buy back time. Automate your savings, your bills, your systems. Every decision you remove from your daily life frees your energy for creation. The wealthy don't spend their time chasing, they spend it creating. That's why they seem calm while others are busy. They've built systems that keep working even when they rest. I once heard Jeff Bezos say, "Your job is to make high-quality decisions with as little time as possible." And that's true for all of us. Protect your time like your future depends on it, because it does. Don't trade your best years for a paycheck. Trade them for purpose, progress, and peace. When you learn to value time more than money, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You begin designing your days instead of enduring them. You understand that wealth isn't about having more things, it's about having more life. So remember this, money is what you get for your time, but freedom is what you earn when you master it. Use your time wisely, because how you spend your hours determines how you'll live your years. Most people want to earn more money, but very few want to become more valuable. And that's where the problem begins. You see, the wealthy don't chase opportunity blindly. They study, they prepare, and they sharpen their minds long before the money shows up. They understand that wealth doesn't come to the one who wants it most, it comes to the one who is ready for it. That's why learning always comes before earning. You've probably heard the saying, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. And it's true, ignorance costs far more than tuition. It costs opportunities, confidence, and decades of your life. The poor spend money to look smart, the wealthy spend money to become smart. Every book they read, every seminar they attend, every mentor they seek, all of it compounds into decisions that pay them for the rest of their lives. When I was younger, I wanted success fast. I wanted the big checks, the big house, the big applause. But I realized something. The marketplace doesn't pay for wishes, it pays for value. And value comes from skill, knowledge, and understanding. I had to learn how the game of money worked, how compounding grows wealth, how risk must be managed, and how opportunities reward the prepared. Once I invested in my mind, the returns never stopped coming. Think of your brain as the factory that builds your future. If the machinery is outdated, your output will always be limited. But when you upgrade the machinery, when you learn, when you think, when you study, everything you touch becomes more efficient, more profitable, and more sustainable. The rich know this truth. Money is a byproduct of mastery. I tell people all the time, before you invest in a stock, invest in understanding. Before you start a business, study the market. Before you chase a new income stream, master the old one. The wealthy don't rush. They research. They ask questions like, what's the long-term return and what can go wrong? They play chess while everyone else plays checkers. Bill Gates once said, success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. That's why the truly wealthy keep learning, even when they're winning. They know that the moment you stop learning, the world starts passing you by. Markets change, technology shifts, people evolve, and if you're not growing with it, your wealth won't either. One of the most powerful lessons I learned is this: your income rarely exceeds your level of knowledge. If you want to double your income, first double your wisdom. Read one financial or mindset book a month. Study people who built their wealth ethically and intelligently, not the ones who got rich quick and burned out faster. Learn the basics: compounding, interest, cash flow, leverage, and taxation. Because once you understand the rules, you can play the game with confidence instead of fear. Warren Buffett spends about 80% of his day reading, not because he has to, but because he knows information compounds faster than money. Every page adds a layer of wisdom, and every lesson learned reduces a future mistake. That's the secret. The rich don't just earn from their efforts, they earn from their insights. So don't just chase money, chase mastery. Don't rush into opportunities, prepare for them. Because when preparation meets opportunity, people call it luck. But luck is just learning that finally pays off. Remember this, your mind is the greatest asset you'll ever own. Feed it well, train it daily, and protect it fiercely. Because the more you learn, the more you'll earn, not by chance, but by design. Pressure. The word alone makes most people uncomfortable. Yet, pressure is the birthplace of diamonds, not dust. The truth is, adversity doesn't break you, it reveals you. It shows what kind of foundation you've built inside. Most people spend their lives avoiding pressure, avoiding discomfort, avoiding anything that makes them sweat. But the wealthy, the truly successful, they don't run from it, they run toward it. Because they understand that pressure is not punishment, it's preparation. You see, the difference between those who crumble under pressure and those who grow from it is mindset. The average person asks, "Why is this happening to me?" The wealthy ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That small shift in perspective turns pain into power. Because the truth is, life is never trying to destroy you, it's trying to develop you. The storms you face are often the tests that qualify you for the next level. When I first started out, I thought success was all about opportunity, getting the right deal, meeting the right person, finding the right timing. But what I learned is that success doesn't come to those who find easy roads. It comes to those who can handle difficult ones. I remember the times when I was broke, when business deals failed, when plans collapsed. At the time, I thought I was being punished. But in hindsight, I realized those moments were shaping my patience, my persistence, and my emotional muscle. And emotional muscle, my friend, is the true foundation of wealth. Let me tell you, it's easy to stay calm when everything's working. It's easy to be positive when the money's flowing. But when everything goes wrong, when the bills pile up, the plans fall apart, and you start questioning yourself, that's when your character gets built. That's when the wealthy separate themselves from the rest. They don't panic, they pause. They don't curse the storm, they study it. Because they know that every test carries a lesson, and every lesson contains leverage for the future. Elon Musk once said, "If something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." That's the mindset of the wealthy. They don't need the odds to be easy. They just need the vision to be clear. Pressure, to them, is not a signal to quit. It's a signal to grow. And here's something powerful. Pressure exposes weaknesses so you can strengthen them. It's like lifting weights. You tear the muscle a little, and it grows back stronger. That's exactly how life works. The moments that stretch you the most often reward you the most, but only if you choose to face them instead of fleeing from them. Start by reflecting weekly on what your stress is teaching you. Don't just react emotionally, think through it. What patterns keep showing up? What skill do you need to develop to solve this once and for all? Wealthy people train themselves to stay calm in chaos. They breathe, they think, they plan, because emotion clouds judgment, but clarity creates control. Remember this, pressure will always reveal your priorities. If your dream is weak, pressure will crush it. But if your vision is strong, pressure will refine it. So instead of saying, "I can't handle this," start saying, "This is how I grow stronger." The truth is, you don't get wealthy by escaping pressure. You get wealthy by mastering it. Every great story, every successful entrepreneur, every self-made millionaire, all of them have faced moments that tested their limits. And those moments didn't destroy them, they defined them. So, the next time life puts you under pressure, smile a little. Because maybe, just maybe, it's not breaking you, it's building your power. Success isn't something you chase. When you chase it, it runs. Success is something you attract by becoming a person of value. That's the great paradox of wealth. The more you focus on money, the more it eludes you. But the moment you shift your attention from income to impact, from getting to giving, the world starts to open doors for you. The wealthy have learned this secret. They don't wake up asking, how can I make more money today? They ask, how can I create more value today? Because money is nothing but a certificate of value, a reward society gives you for solving a problem well. When I was young, I used to think that the rich got lucky. They found the right job, the right market, or the right people. But as I studied them closely, I realized something profound. Wealthy people don't wait for luck. They manufacture it by becoming useful. They train themselves to look at the world differently. Where most people see inconvenience, they see opportunity. Where most people complain, they create. You see, the market doesn't pay you for your time, it pays you for the value of your time. Every product you buy, every service you use, every app you depend on, all of it exists because someone decided to serve better, to make life easier, to solve a frustration you didn't want to deal with. That's how wealth is created. The richest people in the world didn't just sell things, they solved things. Steve Jobs didn't chase money, he obsessed over design, simplicity, and experience. Jeff Bezos didn't chase dollars, he chased convenience. Their wealth was a byproduct of the value they delivered. Now, this doesn't mean you need to build the next iPhone or Amazon. You just need to start where you are. Ask yourself every day, who can I serve better? It might be your customers, your team, or even your family. When you make yourself indispensable, when people can't imagine doing life or business without your contribution, money will follow naturally. One of the most dangerous traps of mediocrity is thinking, I'll work harder when I get paid more. But the wealthy know it works the other way around. I'll get paid more when I work smarter, better, and with greater value. You must always give before you get. Zig Ziglar once said, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. That statement is the law of wealth in one sentence. So, here's the shift. Stop chasing success as if it's a finish line. Start becoming the kind of person success can't ignore. That means improving something every single week. A process, a product, a mindset, a relationship. Compounding doesn't just happen in your bank account, it happens in your character. When you grow your skill set, your mindset, and your service level consistently, the marketplace notices. And let's talk about relationships. Because wealth isn't built in isolation. The wealthy build powerful networks, but not through manipulation, through contribution. They don't walk into a room thinking, who can help me? They walk in thinking, who can I help? That shift in energy makes all the difference. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel valued, supported, and understood. Here's what's beautiful about value. It's infinite. The more you give, the more it multiplies. The more you teach, the more you learn. The more you help, the more doors open. So stop chasing the next paycheck, the next deal, the next big break. Instead, chase mastery, chase usefulness, chase excellence. Because when you become valuable enough, the world has no choice but to reward you. You won't need to chase success, success will come looking for you. Most people spend their lives fearing debt, but the truth is, debt is not the enemy. Ignorance is. Debt, in the hands of the wise, becomes a lever. In the hands of the careless, it becomes a shackle. The difference isn't in the dollars, it's in the direction. The wealthy understand that debt can either pull you forward or drag you under, and it all depends on whether you use it as a tool or fall into it as a trap. When I was young, I used to think all debt was bad. I was told to avoid it like poison. But later, I learned something eye-opening. Debt itself is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's what you attach it to that determines its value. The rich borrow to build, the poor borrow to buy. The rich borrow for assets, the poor borrow for appearances. And that's where the whole game changes. Let's say you borrow money to start a business, to buy real estate, or to invest in something that produces steady income. That's debt working for you. You've turned borrowed money into an employee, one that never sleeps, never eats, and never takes weekends off. But if you borrow to buy a new car you can't afford, or to fund a lifestyle that your paycheck can't sustain, you've just turned your future earnings into a liability. That's not progress. That's postponing pain. The wealthy use debt with precision. They study terms, interest rates, and opportunities before they sign anything. They understand the math of leverage, that the cost of borrowing must always be lower than the return the borrowed money produces. Most people, however, don't do the math. They buy now and worry later. And when later comes, it's too late, the credit card is full, the payments are due, and the dreams are deferred. Here's the real philosophy. If it doesn't make you money, don't use money you don't have to get it. That's a principle that will keep you wealthy for life. Borrowing for consumption is like planting seeds in concrete. It doesn't grow. But borrowing for production is like planting in fertile soil. It multiplies. Think about this. The biggest companies in the world all use debt, but wisely. Apple, Amazon, Tesla, they all borrow billions, not to buy fancy offices or throw lavish parties, but to expand production, innovate, and generate more revenue. Debt, in that sense, is their growth engine. And the same principle can apply to your personal finances. Even on a smaller scale, borrow for what appreciates, not for what depreciates. Track your debt-to-asset ratio like a pilot tracks his altitude. You wouldn't fly without instruments, so don't build wealth without awareness. Know exactly what you owe and what you own. If your debt is growing faster than your assets, you're flying into a storm. But if your assets grow faster than your debt, you're ascending toward freedom. Now, this doesn't mean you live with no joy or never spend on yourself. It means you prioritize wisely. Enjoyment is not forbidden, enslavement is. Buy what you love, but buy it from the profit of your assets, not the promise of your paycheck. Debt is a tool, and like any tool, it can build your future or break it. A knife in the kitchen can prepare a meal, or it can cause harm. It depends on who holds it and how they use it. The same is true of credit, loans, and leverage. Don't fear it. Learn it. Master it. Because in the end, the goal isn't to live without debt. The goal is to live with direction. When you control debt instead of letting it control you, you've stepped into the mindset of the wealthy. You've moved from survival to strategy. You've turned money from a master into a servant. And that's when true financial freedom begins. One of the great illusions of modern life is that you must always work for money. That if you stop working, the money stops flowing. But the wealthy know something different. They understand that real wealth doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what keeps working long after you're done. They don't just create income, They create systems. Systems that think, move, and grow automatically, even while they sleep. When I first started out, I worked for every dollar. I traded hours for paychecks, time for survival. But I realized one day, if I have to be awake for every dollar that comes in, I'll never be free. Freedom comes when your money works harder than you do. That's when life changes. So I began building what I now call the invisible worker. Systems that earn while I live. You see, most people rely on emotion to move their money. They save when they feel inspired. They invest when they feel brave. They spend when they feel good. That's not a plan, that's a roller coaster. And emotions, while beautiful for relationships, are disastrous for wealth. The wealthy remove emotion and replace it with automation. They set up rules and systems that don't depend on how they feel, they just execute. When your paycheck arrives, for example, don't let it sit in your checking account waiting for your impulses to find it. The moment it lands, it should already know where it's going. Part into investments, part into savings, part into expenses. Automatic transfers are the modern version of discipline. It's not about willpower anymore, it's about system power. I know a man who made a modest income but became financially independent before 45. His secret? He automated everything. Every month, without fail, 20% of his paycheck went straight into an investment account. He never saw that money, never felt its absence, never fought the temptation to spend it. It just worked. And over time, it grew. Quietly, consistently, faithfully. Now, imagine if your money could behave like that. Disciplined, predictable, and obedient. That's what systems do. Whether it's recurring investment plans, reinvested dividends, or even simple savings apps, they take the emotion out of decision making. They turn wealth into a science, not a struggle. And here's something fascinating. Once you create systems, your financial life starts to compound in more ways than one. Not only does your money grow, but your time does too. Every minute you don't spend worrying about bills or budgets can be reinvested into creativity, growth, or family. Wealth systems don't just free your finances, they free your focus. Of course, systems are not set and forget. They're set and refine. Review them monthly. Study your performance like a business owner studies his profits. Ask yourself, is this system still serving me? Can I increase my savings rate by 1% this month? Can I upgrade my investments to something that compounds faster? Wealth isn't about perfection, it's about iteration. You improve as you go. I often tell people, if your money system collapses the moment you take a vacation, you don't have a system, you have a job. A true wealth system runs without you. It keeps spinning, growing, and producing, even when you're asleep, traveling, or spending time with those you love. That's the real magic of automation. It shifts your identity. You stop being the laborer and become the architect. You stop working in your finances and start working on them. You move from paycheck manager to wealth creator. So start small, but start now. Automate a single transfer. Reinvest a single dividend. Build one system that runs without your hands on the wheel. Because when you do, you'll feel something powerful. Freedom. The kind of freedom that comes not from working harder, but from working smarter. That's how the rich do it. They don't chase wealth. They build machines that create it. Machines that work every day. Without emotion, without fatigue, and without fail. And one day, those machines will give you something priceless, the time to live life on your own terms. One of the most misunderstood parts of building wealth is this. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. You can earn 6 figures, even 7, and still stay broke if your financial defenses are weak. Wealth isn't just created by offense, it's preserved by defense. The rich understand that every dollar earned is a soldier in their financial army. And smart generals don't just send soldiers to fight, they protect them from loss. When I was young, I thought making more money was the answer to every problem. If I could just earn a little more, I told myself, everything would fall into place. But here's what I discovered. If you have poor habits, higher income just multiplies your mistakes. I met people who made fortunes and lost them even faster because they never learned to protect what they built. So I began studying not just how money grows, but how it stays. The first rule of wealth preservation is simple. Play great defense. Build a wall around your financial castle. That means having an emergency fund, not as an afterthought, but as your foundation. Because life will test you. The car breaks down, a job changes, markets dip, and if you don't have that cushion, you'll be forced to sell your future to pay for your present. I tell people, before you buy your next investment, buy peace of mind. 6 months of expenses, safely stored and untouchable, gives you the ability to think clearly under pressure. The second principle is diversification, not putting all your eggs in one golden basket. Even the best investments come with risk, and the wealthy spread that risk across multiple streams. They own real estate, stocks, businesses, and sometimes even intellectual property. So if one slows down, the others still work. Think of it like this. If one income stops, your life shouldn't. And here's something that wealthy people understand deeply. Protection isn't fear-based, it's strategy-based. They don't buy insurance because they're afraid of disaster. They buy it because they respect probability. They know that life is uncertain, and they refuse to let one event destroy years of progress. They use legal structures like trusts, corporations, and LLCs not to hide, but to organize. These structures create barriers that shield assets from lawsuits, taxes, and chaos. It's fascinating how many people build wealth without ever learning to protect it. They buy bigger homes, more cars, and fancy lifestyles, but one medical emergency or bad business deal can wipe it all out. The rich, on the other hand, build safety nets under every step. They prepare before they prosper. I remember one businessman I mentored years ago. He was brilliant at making deals. His offense was unstoppable. But he lost everything twice because he never thought about defense. After the second collapse, he finally listened. He diversified, insured his assets, and built systems to protect his income. Within a decade, he was wealthier than ever, and this time, he kept it. There's an old saying, a fool and his money are soon parted. But the wise build walls, gates, and guards around what they've earned. That's what protection really is. It's the wisdom to defend your future from the unpredictability of life. Remember this, wealth isn't just a race to accumulate, it's a responsibility to sustain. The same discipline that grows money must also protect it. Build your defenses strong, and your wealth will have the room to breathe, expand, and endure. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to get rich, it's to stay rich. It's to live securely, give generously, and sleep peacefully, knowing that what you've built will stand the test of time. Every dollar that comes into your life has a choice. It can work for you, or it can rest. And most people, sadly, let their dollars sleep. They earn it, they spend it, and then they wonder why they're still tired at the end of every month. But the wealthy, they see money differently. They see each dollar as a little employee, a soldier in their financial army, ready to go out, work, and bring back more soldiers. The key isn't to earn and spend, it's to earn and deploy. When I first started learning about money, I realized something simple but profound. Money doesn't care who holds it. It only cares how it's treated. It doesn't respond to emotions, it responds to management. Give it direction, give it purpose, and it multiplies. Leave it idle, and it withers. Think about this. If you owned a company and your employees sat around doing nothing, how long would you keep paying them? Yet that's exactly what many people do with their money. They keep it sleeping in checking accounts, losing value to inflation, while they complain that they never have enough to invest. The first step to changing that mindset is to see yourself as a commander of capital. Every dollar that enters your life should be assigned a mission. Some dollars are for defense. That's your emergency fund. Some are for offense. That's your investments. And some are for generosity. That's your contribution to others. But none should be allowed to wander aimlessly, because idle money is like idle talent. It decays. I remember years ago when I met a young man who was saving diligently. He'd built up a few $1,000s in his account, but he never invested it. He said, "I'm waiting for the right time." I told him, the right time is when you understand what your money can do. See, the problem isn't timing, it's clarity. If you understand compounding, how money earns interest, reinvests, and doubles over time, you stop waiting and start acting. The wealthy never let their dollars sit in traffic. They send them out to work. It's also about the mindset of reinvestment. Every profit, every bonus, every unexpected gain, it's not a ticket to spend, it's an opportunity to grow. The poor see extra money as something to enjoy. The rich see it as something to multiply. They take profits and put them right back into assets that generate more income. Real estate, stocks, businesses, intellectual property. That's how their army grows. Dollar by dollar, quietly, relentlessly, exponentially. You must also track your soldiers. A good general knows where his troops are and what they're doing. Do you know where your money goes each month? Do you know which part of it is working, which is wasting, and which is sleeping? The wealthy do. They measure return on investment not just for their portfolios, but for their time, their energy, and their decisions. Every outflow must justify itself. If it doesn't produce value, it's restructured or removed. Money is neutral. It doesn't care who you are or where you started. It doesn't play favorites, but it does play by rules. And one of the most powerful rules is this: if you give money a purpose, it will give you freedom. If you give it direction, it will give you security. But if you neglect it, it will quietly leave you.